Alright. We're live? All right, welcome everybody to the October 8th, 2024 Durham Select Board meeting. We have a quorum. Joe Roy's excused, he is out of town today. So if we will stand and recite the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any amendments to the agenda? I have one, because Chief is covering between 7 and 7:30 so that we can make sure he does not get called out. I'd like to move the letter of support for warming shelter in the town of Brunswick to after the public comments.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Is there any public comment? Yep,
Yeah.
have a seat over there and tell us your name and where you live.
Okay, thank you. Phyllis Brannon, Brookside Drive. A couple of comments. I sent an email today to Jerry, so it was just today, asking if he would consider opening the town office for a couple of Fridays before the election, for people that want to come in and do in-person voting. So it's still, I just sent it to today, so I didn't get anything back, but I wanted to ask if you would consider that. The other thing that I wanted to make a comment about was the steering committee. So I can't remember exactly when we met, but it's been some time ago. And I recently got an email from someone that's also on the committee wondering where's the information. What we were told, and I don't remember the name of the company that was overseeing that, but someone took notes and was supposed to supply the committee members with some overview of some of the pictures or whatever. So we haven't heard anything about that. So wanted you to be aware of that because it's been probably a couple of months now. So I just want to bring that to your attention.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No? Okay. So, Chief, do you want to explain the letter and what it's about, or do you want me to? How do you want to? Do you want to present it?
I can try.
Okay.
But if you're up on it, I can answer questions.
Okay.
There may be some.
So the town of Durham has been asked to provide a letter of support to the town of Brunswick and its partners for a funding request to acquire and develop a permanent home for a seasonal warming center. That will be in the town of Brunswick, but citizens of Durham, and I don't recall I believe a number of neighboring communities will also be permitted to participate and use the shelter. So I think it would be in addition to a shelter that we would have in town. This would be a permanent one. So if we don't have ours open, this would be a good place to go. And it does not, to my knowledge, include any funds from the town of Durham. It's just a letter of support, essentially encouraging whoever is offering this funding to provide it to Brunswick and support Brunswick, Durham, and the neighboring communities. How'd I do?
Spot on, as
Perfect.
usual. I wouldn't expect anything less. City of Bath, Brunswick, Durham, even Harpswell, Topsom, West Bath, all met. We've had several regional meetings, Zoom and in person, about that. We started really summertime for this. I think Brunswick years ago had a fatality in the town that somebody froze to death. So anytime their criteria is 10 degrees or colder, they open a shelter center. It's really a center because words matter, right? So, not really with pets. It's just an overnight, but you have to leave in the morning. Light fare for food, but not really food distribution. But they're just looking for support for their funding purposes, which is sort of state and national funding. They have a director. I think it might be in one of the churches. So they've partnered with one of the churches in a basement, quiet space, sleeping space. They have donations for clothes, that type of thing. So they've really thought it out. Now, in a storm, of course, we would open the Eureka Center or the fire station when it's appropriate here. But during just those cold, long nights, we will have an address if people come to us to send them there. And there is sort of an avenue to get people there. Not fire department vehicles, but, there's like Uber type of, like charges or that type of thing. It's all in place. They do it all type of thing. We're just sort of partnering with them.
Any questions for the chief? Comments? So I would entertain a motion to support the town manager, Jerry, and Joe Roy to sign these letters in support of the warming center in Brunswick. Is there a second?
Second for just a quick discussion.
Sure.
I'm just confused about, do their letters say the exact same thing? Is that intentional, or were they not sure who was gonna send the letter? Are they both gonna send the same letter?
I think they're both going to send the same letter.
Okay. Okay.
And I think, and my recollection is Jerry told me that this was a letter that was sort of,
Yeah,
Given,
drafted and,
yeah.
okay. Thank you.
any other discussion? No, so we'll take a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? So 4-0. All right, so there's no old business. New business is a discussion on the conveyance of the Sawyer Cemetery.
Thank you, Chief.
So,
Hello.
do you want to introduce the topic?
Sure, sure. I'm Deb Larrabee, and I live here in Durham on Roseboro Road. I'm the been president 18 years for the Sawyer Durham Cemetery. It's a private cemetery. It was formed in 1918, and then in 1919 it became a non-profit corporation without stock. And at this moment, we don't have a lot of people to run the committee anymore, and funds have dwindled because over time people have died and so forth. And so we came to a sad decision that we thought it was time that we conveyed it to the town so that it could get the proper care that it needs. We haven't dwindled with the care, but here it would be more on with the public works and everything, it would be regular mowing. It would just get that constant care that it needs. So we had a small budget of $1650 for mowing, and that was all the monies that we were distributing was just for mowing. And of course, we made sure all the veterans, we have, I think, 12 or more veterans in that cemetery. And we always make sure that theirs are taken care of, as well as the others. But there's rules and regs in the Maine Cemetery Association that tells how you have to take care of veteran graves. So we're a member of that and follow that. So I gave you some packets. I assume that they got passed out to you.
They did.
Okay, the letter that you have before you is descriptive of what we've done. And we've put it out to public notice several different ways. And it's sat with the town clerk for 30 days. And we've had, no one's come forward and said, no, don't do that. They've had a lot of questions about how the town takes care of their cemeteries, but no one contested. So there's a sheet behind that shows all the signatures of the officers to show you that we have, full cooperation for the conveyance. I worked with Joe Donovic, who's the previous president of the cemetery committee, and he's the one who gave me the steps to get to this point. So once you folks have looked it over, if you so desire to take the conveyance, the next step would be for it to become an article in the town report. because it will affect the taxpayers, you know, smallly, but still, it's another piece of town. And it's always been done through an article in the town meeting. So I think that's, unless you guys have questions of me, I'll stop talking.
So thank you for talking about how to accept this. I actually have some questions, but I'll turn it over to see if anybody else does first.
Whereabout is the cemetery located? I see it's on 136.
Right across the road across from the ball fields,
Oh, okay.
right on 136.
Does Durham control other cemeteries?
Yes.
Durham has 26 cemeteries that the town
That
does.
the town does. I just want to thank you and the people that have been involved with this up to now and for taking care of that.
Yeah, we have just exhausted ourselves, and we've tried to get people to come forward, family, and a lot of them, the families have even died off. So it's hard to find the descendants down through, and then, of course, we had the crash this winter, and one of the members' sons graciously donated his time and repaired the wall for us, so that's all done. I have new signs coming, and they have a copy of the town sign ordinance, so that the signs will be according to ordinance, so they won't be in violation when they get them done.
I do have one question.
Go ahead.
Is there still space available in the cemetery if
Yes.
there were residents that wanted
Yes.
to be buried there?
Yes.
Okay.
To the front part of the cemetery, most of it is taken. And to the back is what we call the new part. On the right-hand side, there's plenty of casket / cremation, but on the other side, it's more like a hilly section, so we thought that would be more appropriate for the cremations. But I have a cemetery map for you. I have a survey of the land. It's all at the Registry of Deeds, it's recorded. I also have a full deed of both parcels, and that's recorded as well.
I think that information would be helpful to have, and then perhaps if this is something that goes before town meeting, being able to inform residents of how much space is available in that cemetery is something that, as a resident, I would want to know that
Yeah,
information. So I think
Tia and I have, she came to our last meeting, she's head of your Durham Cemetery Committee, and she and I were gonna work together. She's gonna get a digital thing all done for it. She's very knowledgeable, so I know that she and I could work something up. Perhaps she could bring it forth for you guys if you want.
Thank you. That's all I have, Josh.
Thank you. You have anything?
No, I'm good. I'm
So-
with this.
My first question, what happens between now and the town meeting? In terms of,
It's dormant. Once it comes December 1st, we close the gate over there for winter burials, because a couple of times, we did winter burials over there, and we had to bring in a small backhoe to get down through the frost. So what we do is, if somebody wants to be, buried over there, they can apply, but it will happen in the spring.
okay,
1st of May, when the grounds are, cleaned up, had that spring cleanup and everything, and the earth is ready.
so there really wouldn't be any work between, assuming there's no accident or anything like that again. There's no work that's done between, December 1st or today and May of
The
next
only
year.
thing we have left over there is our fall cleanup, and he comes in and cleans up the leaves, and of
Okay.
course, more fall between now and then,
Right.
but he basically makes sure the cemetery is ready for the winter.
Okay. And
puts
so
it
you-
to bed.
And you'll be able to fund that?
Yes,
Okay.
we've already paid for that.
Okay, so there's,
Yep,
so there's really
everything's
no.
paid to date.
Okay, okay, because my first concern was make sure that that is taken care of.
Absolutely, and I'll stay in charge of it until such time as the town has voted to accept it.
Okay,
Hopefully I'll be in Florida, but I'd be available, by phone.
Yep.
And even when you guys take it over, I'll be available. I'll come talk to you anytime. You just have to call me.
thank you. And so I think before, before we have a formal vote to
Mm-hmm.
put this on, as an article at the town meeting, I think
Right.
we need to hear from, Calvin about the added expense. and see, so that we can have that information.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for this presentation. Is there anything else that we should know about?
I don't think so. I tried to give you the documents that we have, you know, the oldest document and then the newest one where we took, you know, changed it over because we found a box. We didn't realize, probably back a dozen years ago, about the incorporation. And when my mother passed, we had a box and we went through it. And lo and behold, there was I have the original incorporation paperwork. So I said, you know, we said, well, we've got to get a hold of the state and change this out. So, you know, this is from 1919, you know, let them know that there are people alive and taking care of that cemetery. So we changed it out, but yeah, it's been very interesting, 8 years. I've done a lot of different work over there. And I do have, if you guys need it too, the name of the person who does our digging for the cemetery.
Well, I think what I'm gonna suggest
Yeah.
is I'm gonna ask Jerry to speak with Calvin, come back with what he expects it to cost for us, whether there's any additional equipment he would need, any additional help he would need to hire, and any information,
Sure.
anything else like that. Present it to us, when we get closer to December, January, and so that we can vote on adding it, as an article at the town meeting.
Right, I know it has to go through
Yeah.
all the communications, but could you possibly email me a letter when you guys have finally decided what's gonna happen? That you've accepted the conveyance, because once it goes to town meeting, if it gets accepted, then I have to go through and dissolve the corporation. I have to close bank accounts. I have a lot of steps that I have to do after. But I know a lot of us are concerned.
One question I had is
Yeah.
the money left over for the cemetery, would that be also conveyed to the town?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it's perpetual care funds.
Okay.
I think the town has a perpetual care fund.
I can't remember how it's set up, we'd have to check.
I don't remember off
Yeah.
the top of my head.
Because the money we had was designated for the care over there, you know, mowing, cleanup and what have you,
Yeah.
so.
So I think I'm not alone in saying thank you for all the work you've done.
Oh,
And
no
thank you for
problem.
presenting this, and, you know, once we have all the information, we'll ask Jerry to put it together, present it to us, and we will reach out to you, and,
Okay, if you could just let me know, because if not, I have to have a meeting in the spring, and we have to cancel, you know, the meeting that we had that said to convey it, so we can take it back, and,
okay. Yep, we will make sure we stay in touch.
okay, well, that sounds good. It's nice to see all of you. I miss being a selectman every now and then.
Only for a second, I guess.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
All right. So next on the agenda is a discussion about Historic District Commission table at the November 5th election. And this is something, I think we put on the agenda because there was an email, I believe, from Joe about, we would put it on the agenda. This is something that's approved, well, I guess Devin has given the okay. This is not something I think we control. It's something that's allowed upon a request. I think within limits, I think anybody can have a table at the election. Some of the things we need to make sure people know, you're not allowed to wear any buttons, hats, shirts, anything like that into the voting place. That's as you know, this specific Historic District Commission is representing the town. You know, I think it's important to remember that nobody, for them or anybody else with a table is campaigning or having those discussions, because I don't think that's appropriate. So I think there will be people there, Jessica, Devin, others, watching that, and so they will enforce that. But those are the only reminders I think I was asked to provide. Are there any questions about that, comments?
Do we know what their basic message is? What's gonna be at the table? What's the,
My recollection is they wanted to provide information about the their role, and get an education, which is part of their, charter, thank you. And I don't think there were specifics, and I don't think, again, I don't think it's something we necessarily approve.
Yeah.
But it's something that, I appreciate, I guess I appreciate the ask, but I think from now on, Devin just needs to be told so that he can make sure there's enough, space there and tables.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Conservation Committee, do you wanna? Thank you for coming. If you want to introduce yourself, and I know
Yep.
it's, for us, it's on the agenda, it says an update, so.
Okay, so I'm Roberta Brzezinski. I live on Quaker Ridge Road, member of the Conservation Commission.
I'm Jess Costa, and I'm the chair of the Conservation Commission, and I'm on Brianna Drive.
So, I think people may know that the town is a member of the Community Resilience Partnership through the Governor's Office. And last March, we applied for an open space grant, and we did not get approved. I think the application was not very robust at that time, and we got feedback from the state. They award things on a point system, and so they gave us a good rundown of where we fell short. And so this year, we talked to GP Cog, and you should have received a draft application. I don't know if you had time to look through it, but
This is what is in our packet?
it
Yes.
should be.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't know, I'm not really prepared to go through what is in it.
And I don't think we need to go into too much detail, but one of the important pieces is for this next round of applications that we're gonna go for, there's a greater funding amount, whereas it was 50,000 last year. This next round could be up to 75,000 for grant awards. So the next application is due in December. So we'll resubmit. We've gotten support from GP Cog they're helping us, fill it out. We are working with FB Environmental. Previously they provided a proposal for this for last year. And one question that we had too was if we can attach their proposal to our application, because we think it would really enhance it. But we're not certain if we can, because if this work to hire a consultant has to go out to bid, I'm not sure we can include their proposal. So that's one question we had. I guess, I don't know if Jerry needs to answer that.
Right. And actually, it was more, like, they titled it a scope of work. I don't know if that's the same as a proposal, technically.
It has their cost, their
It
breakdown.
does have a
so
breakdown of
that's-
cost.
We would have to take that out, yeah.
It is helpful in the application to have the scope of work, because they really want specifics of how you're gonna carry it out. And the scope of work has specifics, how many community meetings you're gonna have, what kind of stakeholders to reach out to. So, and we did not include it in the last one, and I think we would have gotten more points because it kind of answered some of their questions. So, if we can, I think it'd be helpful.
But the bottom line is, we're going for the same exact grant, an open space plan, and conservation strategy. I think some of the areas where the, increased budget would go towards more community
outreach and events and more mapping, more robust mapping to figure out where the vulnerable areas are, where are areas that are prone to flooding, what areas are priorities for conservation.
Right, and there was something in this one about possibly a watershed plan too, so.
Yeah.
The water. And also, we have to make a decision about, I don't know if there was an option before, but whether we're gonna carry it out in 12 months or 24 months. That's kind of the only difference. And 24 sounds better, considering how long it took us to join the partnership. And it's a lot of work to have community meetings and interviews and surveys, and it's a lot.
And so it would be a 10% matching grant from the town, is that
No.
what I read? No?
No, nothing.
Nothing?
No, there might have been something in there because the application asks if you fall into that category.
Okay.
But as long as we stick with their action items that are laid out, and our plan is exactly like that, we haven't veered off to our own thing, no, it's 100% covered.
And then what I noticed on the last page, it says you can attach the vendor or consultant estimates. So,
Right.
but do you need a vote for us to approve this, or are you just presenting?
I don't think so. We just, we want to keep people updated, and,
Especially whereas Jerry's gonna sign the application for the second round again. Yeah, just wanted to make sure everyone's updated.
and also we're using like a community service, GP cog, through our town services, so.
Are there any questions?
First, thank you. For going through this again and going back up to the plate to try. So thank you for that, I appreciate it. Definitely something to talk to Jerry about, but I believe our standard practice is that if something is under $10,000, it doesn't necessarily have to go out to bid. And so I have no idea where the price point is in terms of this, but that's just information for you guys to talk to Jerry about. And the update is so incredibly helpful for us because we have a lot of committees that are doing a lot of work, and it's really hard for all of us to attend all of those meetings and watch all of those meetings and also try to do all of our own work. So the fact that we have updates coming in is really, really helpful. So thank you both for being here.
Sure.
Good deal. Good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. I think Jessica or Devin, do you have a report for Jerry? No?
We don't have, absentee voting is going on. Absentee voting is going on right now. The office has processed 400, I believe, absentee ballots, so we're busy. But yeah, other than that, same as usual.
All right. So I'll start at the bottom. Deb, do you have a board member report?
I just want to mention that I met with a representative from GP cog since our last meeting, Andrew Zero. Just to, he was just introducing the service and what they provide. It was good. I enjoyed hearing about it and plan to go through some of the material that he gave me and, keep an eye out for opportunities where we can pull them in to help us on certain topics.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
that's all I have.
Heather?
I just had a question about our public comment regarding the steering committee, and I'm wondering if anyone knows if we have a chair of that committee?
We do, and
Okay.
we can ask Jerry to reach out and
Okay,
get an update,
okay, that would be.
get things moving.
And then my other thing is, I know that that Debbie's, what are we calling this, action items?
Yep, action items.
The action item list, we had a long discussion about that last meeting. And then we were all kind of on the wrong track about what these 2 October meetings look like. But I would like to have this be part of our, like, so that we can update this as it's going. I don't know how we get that on the agenda, but that's something that I would like for us to talk about.
So to get something on the agenda, you have to request it, I think it's a week in advance to
Okay.
Jerry,
Okay.
and he will put it on the agenda.
Okay. This is like a standing thing that I would like to be on there, like our consent agenda, so that we're making sure that we're closing our loops. So I'll make sure that I do that.
Well, I
Have
mean,
that conversation with Joey and Jerry.
I think so, because I think to put that on every week, to have a blanket discussion about each and every one of those topics is going to be a little too much.
Yeah,
So-
I don't wanna do that. I just
But,
wanna
but
make sure
by putting
that
it on the
we're-
agenda, that's what's happening, so I think that's a concern that was raised.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if there's a specific item to be discussed, I think it can be requested, but I think a general, where do we stand on all of these things is not something that's gonna make it on the agenda, because there'll be updates when we have updates, unless there's something specific for people to talk about. But that's a discussion for Joe and Jerry. But I think for now, I would ask that, you should ask that to be put on the next agenda, and then they can have that discussion. So when Jerry and I met, I don't think we had a discussion about that. And if we did, I don't recall, but I don't think it was as part of our discussion. Anything else? Joe?
Nope, I'm good.
The only thing that I had, and I meant to forward it to all the members, and I forgot, there was a recent article about the difficulty in hiring and keeping town managers. And so I just wanted to throw that out there so everybody knows, because we do have a discussion coming up about Jerry's work for the past year that we need to discuss. And it was something that someone brought up to me, and I had Jerry find and send to me. So I will try to remember to share that. The consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. And upcoming meetings, we have, it's not on this list, but we have a meeting on Thursday at 6:30 here, which will be used for an executive session.
It's not,
It's not
in
here.
Town Hall.
It's
Is-
in Jerry's office, I think.
Is
The
it?
last I
Yep.
heard.
Okay. So over at the town hall at 6:30 on Thursday. And that is being held Thursday because Jerry and Joe were unavailable tonight. There is, the town office is closed on Monday. And there's a solid waste committee meeting on the 21st at the Eureka Center at 6:30. Our next meeting is October 29th here at 6:30. That's a week later than usual. There's a planning board meeting November 6th here at the fire station at 6:30. And I believe there's a historic district commission also this Thursday at 6 o'clock. And I don't remember, is that here or is that
Eureka, I believe.
at Eureka? Thank you. Is there any need for an executive session tonight?
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think we need to go back to the consent agenda because when I open the folder to sign, I'm noticing that there's reappointments in here for election clerks, warden, and a deputy warden, and I didn't see that on here, so I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that we need to do that. And then if we are gonna, I assume we need to do this tonight?
Yes,
Okay.
we meant to add that to the agenda. Yes,
Okay.
so before every election, the clerk needs to have you guys appoint the warden and a deputy warden. And then we had, what's the other appointment for?
Election clerk?
An election clerk. Oh, yes, we have a volunteer that can come in and assist with absentee voting. And so you guys need to appoint before he can oath them in.
So I would like to ask for an executive, a very quick executive session to discuss the appointments.
Okay, and that's under 1 MRS section 405. Is it 6?
Six. Yep.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? I'm sorry,
All in favor to move
thank
into
you.
executive
All in
session?
favor? All right, so we will move into executive session. Good to go? Yep. All right, so no action is taken out, coming out of executive session. I will take a motion, though, to amend the agenda to include approving of the nominations for election clerk,
Warden,
warden, and deputy warden.
so moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Then I will now take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you.
I'm not trying to split hairs, I just
We're
wanna make
back.
sure we actually do
So,
it.
so there's a question about whether we amended the agenda, and when there's a question about whether we approved the nominations. So I will take a motion to approve the nomination for election clerk, warden, and deputy warden for the upcoming November election.
So moved.
Second? Any discussion?
Do we need to say their names out loud here? Or we said them out loud in the executive session, but not outside of it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so,
Okay,
but,
all right.
all in favor? Okay, and now I will, again, for the third time, ask, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Now have a good night.